If Bitcoin shoots up to $200,000, how many of you would sell all? If by this time next year, price has gone up to $200,000, which is around 3x the all-time high, would you sell all, some, or none of your Bitcoin? I would sell it all at $200K and buy back in at $600K. Probably trim a bit to enjoy my life instead of looking at numbers on a screen saying, told you, and eating ramen. Half of it. I'll take my chances buying back in the ride down the following year or two. If history doesn't repeat, I can at least enjoy my new and improved digs. Bitcoin has been my savings account for years. I can spend some if necessary, but I won't sell. How could you trade the best money for the central banking cartel garbage? If you understand Bitcoin properly, you never sell. Please read the fiat standard first. It's not for me. It's for my kids. HODL till I'm ODL. Actually, I'm hoping they'll be using the Bitcoin, so it never gets converted. I feel like it's still undervalued at $200,000. None. Targeting 1-2 million. HODL. The FOMO will keep all of us from selling at $200K, waiting for the price to go higher. Then when the price reaches $35K again, we will swear that when it reaches $200K again we will sell. This time, only to repeat the cycle again and again throughout the years until we finally die and nobody else knows the keys to access it. Most people on Reddit total wealth $300. Once upon a time, a man bought some gold coins. He held them for a few years until the price had greatly increased. He sold his coins for hundreds of millions of Zimbabwe dollars. He was rich for a little while. Eventually, one loaf of bread cost several trillion Zimbabwe dollars. But the man only had millions. Welcome to New Zimbabwe, featuring your own local fiat currency. I'm looking for life-changing money. That wouldn't be it. Convert the hardest, most scarce asset, money, no demand, back into fiat? Yay. That's gonna be a no from me, dog. I'd sell 1.5 coin and get my mortgage down to virtually nothing. Not having to pay $1,500 a month for housing would be life-changing. There will never be a time that fiat currency will increase in value over time when compared to Bitcoin. In other words, I will never liquidate my Bitcoin unless I see some other investment that I believe is better than Bitcoin, or unless for some reason I need cash right now, in which case I would liquidate only that specific amount. How fucked is our economy if Bitcoin is worth that much? I'm self-employed and recently sold a portion of my gains from this recent pump purchase, some essential test equipment for work. Some might poo that idea, but I can make good coin off that piece of kit and reinvest it eventually. It's not about how high crypto goes. It's about what you do when you're up. At this point, Bitcoin is money. It is your bank account. I'm at a point in life where I like my job, like my condo, like my car. I'd be able to satisfy my long-term objectives with this amount, and it would only make my present that much easier. I'd be able to pay off my mortgage, diversify into index funds, buy another condo in a city I'd like to spend several months a year, which I can BC of my job. I've been holding and accumulating consistently for 6 years. Didn't sell in 2017. Not selling then. I'd sell a lot at $200K. Maybe keep half a coin or something. And when it eventually comes back down, I'll rebuy. These ATHs don't seem to be great at sticking. And I want to have the most I reasonably and comfortably can in the long term, not the short term. That said, $200K isn't a magic number. And there's no magic number for me. It's a matter of gauging the news cycle and the sentiments. I sold around 60k coin last ATH and rebought too early 35k, but I'm still happy to have almost doubled in quantity. I'd be happy doubling again in the future and maybe get myself something nice with 5 of the profits. Lol. If it hits 12 million, I'll start considering. Until then, stack SATs and hold. Would you chop your tree down when the fruits are ripe? So if BTC shoots up to 200k, I would have sold at 35k just before the pump. I would buy back in at 200k, only for it to dump back down to 35k, at which I would sell just before it pumps back to 600k. I would sell my GBTC. That's exactly why I own it. To sell later with easy taxes. Cold storage plan to never sell if possible. I'm about 90 sure I'm going to sit on what I have. Hindsight, it's always 20/20. If I had sold what I had at the last all-time high or near it, it wouldn't let me double what I had with the profit depending on when I bought back. I've got a pretty nice position in the Bitcoin miners, so my plan is to see what I can make on those. And that'll make it easier not to be tempted to sell any of my Bitcoin. None of my Bitcoin. Most of my shitcoins. British HODL on YouTube is so encouraging. Don't let BlackRock buy your BTC at $1 million and ride it to $5 million. But this is why Bitcoiners need to have reasonable financial postures in fiat world. You bet your sweet ass I would. In a heartbeat. I won't sell cause it can easily go to 1 million from 200k. When it goes to 200k, that means it's getting more popular as a digital asset that more and more people wants a piece of it. There's not enough supply for everyone. There's more millionaires than the max supply of Bitcoin as well. Of course this is speculation. But if it can reach 200k, there's no reason it can't reach a million. Because there is a constant, which is Bitcoin max supply. It's easier to judge demand. I, like many who took a punt, have no choice. I have a mortgage to pay and a family to help. No shame in walking away with serious profits and securing your stability by shooting down your debts. Realistically, I would probably sell enough to rebalance my portfolio and reward myself with a nice present for my hard work. Nothing crazy. A new motorcycle. A round of new computers for everyone. Things that I won't realistically be able to afford if I'm solely relying on my regular income. I think there will always be a minimum amount of Bitcoin that isn't for sale regardless of its dollar value. It might depend more on my life circumstances around the time it hits $200,000 as to what that amount is. All of you are fucking delusional. Yes, sell. Price will not be 200k this time next year though. I saw a tweet back in 2011 asking how many would sell if BTC goes to $100. Back then it was about $10 coin. I am sure they made a lot of money by selling a 10x gain. Don't be like them. Personally, I've put in my time on hodling and this is the final cycle for me. By the time we hit $150, I'll have reduced my BTC holdings to 5 of assets and sail off into the sunset. Speaking from experience, anyone hoping for 200k should be prepared and willing to hold their bags for another 4 years if we don't happen to hit that number this time. For me, if it gets to the point where I could pay off my mortgage with my BTC, then that's exactly what I'll do. Just like fiat, it's all nothing more than numbers on a screen until I can actually do something tangible with it. The sad fact is that most people who are struggling will sell way before it gets to $200,000. And those who are already well off will hold because they don't need to money as much. They can afford to be risky. That's how capital pools at the top. 0. I would sell nothing. And my DCA would continue.